Welcome to this tutorial on CSS Flexbox. In this tutorial, we'll cover the basics of Flexbox so you can create Flexbox and responsible layouts for your web pages. So in this tutorial, we'll start with an overview of what Flexbox is and why it's important. Then we'll go over the basics and cover the most commonly used Flexbox properties. Finally, we'll finish with a real-time example that you can use to practice and apply what you have learned in this CSS Flexbox. So let's begin with section 1, whereby we'll be dealing with what is Flexbox. Now, Flexbox is a layout model in CSS that makes it easier to align and distribute content on a web page. So with Flexbox, you can create Flexbox and responsible layouts that adapt to different screen sizes and devices. Okay, so now let's start with let's go to section 2, whereby we begin with the basics of Flexbox. So let's start with the basics. So first we'll cover the Flexbox container, which is the parent element that contains the Flexbox items. And next we'll talk about the Flexbox items, which are the child elements that are contained within the Flexbox container. Now, I'm going to give you an example on a Flexbox container and items. So let's create a simple Flexbox layout using a container and items. So in our HTML, we'll start with a container element and add some items. Now, let's go to, now on the HTML here, you can see I have a folder here, which is Flexbox, which has the title Flexbox. So what you do here is come here and create an index of course.html like that. Now with this one here, I'm going to hold the shift, then exclamation mark like this, and then I'm going to generate that boilerplate code. And then here I'm going to update this one with learn Flexbox. Learn Flexbox CSS like that. So that's what will appear. So when I click on this extension here, go live, you can see that's what we have so far. Okay, now here, so let's update a div here. I'm going to have a div here, and then this div I'm going to give it so we'll have opening and closing. So the first one here, going to have a class. Then this class I'm going to call it flex container. Sorry. So this should be flex container. Yes, and then so I'm going to generate 3 items on the Flexbox container. So the first one is going to have a div, going to have the div class, and then item. So you can see here, sorry, this is item. So you're going to have item, going to have item like that. So this is going to be item 1, and then next you're going to have other ones. So here I'm going to have that. So basically I'll have three items, as you can see. Let me close this like that. So here we'll have item 2, and then here we'll have item 3. It's something simple like that. Now here I'm going to create my CSS. So here I'm just going to have this one in styles .css like that. Now within my style.css here, so in our CSS, I will set the display property of the container to flex like this. So here I'm going to grab the flex container that we have just defined on the other end like this, and then I'm going to set this to display flex like that. So here, as you know, here I just need to update the CSS. So here we have styles. So here I'm going to have this like this, and then I'm going to have this way. So here I'm just going to add the S on this part like that. So I believe now this one is able to, yeah. Okay, so now when you update, you can see. So this is what we have. This is what we have. So this tells the browser that the container element should use Flexbox for layout. Now we can add some properties to our item, such as background color and some padding. So basically, here, so just come here, and then you're going to take the item, that is this one here now, this part here. So you're going to have item, and then within the item, you're going to give it a background color. So it's just to distinguish them. The background color is going to be that one. And then I'm going to give it a padding of 10 pixels like this. So basically they are going to have some padding of 10 pixels. Remember, padding is a space around the content, and then of course the background color is that one. Okay, so this will of course give our items a background gray color and some padding. So now let's go to example 2. Now example 2 is a Flexbox properties. Now that we have a basic understanding of the Flexbox container and items, let's talk about some commonly used Flexbox properties. So the first one is the first one here. Let me just highlight it here. So the first one is called Flex direction, like this. The second one is called justify content, and the other one is called align items. I'm sure you must have heard of this if you're not new to CSS, because I'm sure you're not new to CSS. So what we have here is that flex direction. This property determines the direction of the main axis, and the main axis is the primary axis along which flexbox items are laid out. So the default value is raw, which lays out items horizontally with the flexbox here. So this one, we just lay the items horizontally like that. So items are laid horizontally. So justify content, this property determines how flexbox items are laid along the main axis. So common values include center, flex start, and flex end. So flex start, flex end, like that. So you have something like this, and of course you're going to use them so that you can understand what is happening. And then align items, the property will also determine how flexbox items are aligned along the cross axis. So the cross axis is the perpendicular to the main axis. So common values will include a center, stretch, and baseline. Now let's look at an example. So this is just some of the items you're going to be looking at. So let's go to an example. So we're going to have our HTML as it is, and then next here in our CSS we'll update it with the following flexbox elements. So this is what we have here. So on our flexbox container, we're going to have display flex, and then here let's give that direction which we have said it is used to align the items horizontally, and then we are going to have justify content. This one you said you can use flexbox start, and you can see even the properties themselves are defined here. So this time we are going to use the space between. So you're going to give these elements a space in between them, and then you're going to have uh, align align items, and then here we're going to have, these are the properties within align items. So we're going to use the center. so that they can be centered within the browser. Okay, so what do we have here? You can see now this is how they appear on the browser. So they have a space and then they are aligned. That is using the align item center and of course the horizontal justification. So in this example, we have a Flexbox container with three child elements. So the display flex property specifies that this is the Flexbox container, and of course what we have here is that the flex direction drop property will specify the Flexbox items arranged in a row. So the justify content properties will specify the items are evenly distributed within a space, that is with space between them. And of course the align item center, this one will now center the items vertically within the container. Now in our next example, we shall look at is Flexbox wrapping. So Flexbox wrapping. So what is Flexbox wrapping? So another useful property in Flexbox is Flexbox wrap, and this one will determine whether Flexbox items should wrap to the next row or column when they exceed the size of the container. So let's add this property to our container and set it to wrap. Now, so the wrap here, we're going to have this. So we are going to have the display flex. So here I'm just going to change some few things. So for example, here I'm going to change this to justify content. I'm going to take this one, justify content center. And then here, I'm going to use the flex wrap, which is this one here. So that's what we have. And then here, basically, I'm going to have this. Let me remove this one as well. So now let's add some more items to our container. For example, that is so here I'm going to add, they're going to become 6 of them. So here we have 3 and then 4, then 5, then 6, like that. And now let's give our items a width of 200 pixels and a height of 100 pixels and some margin and padding to space things out. Flexbox container, display flex, justify content center, and then the flex wrap, which I've just described above. So here I'm going to give the item. So let's begin with the item first. So the item, this one will cover all the items. So I'm going to give it a width of 200 pixels. I'm going to give this one an height of 100 pixels. And then I'm going to give this a margin of 10 pixels. And then here I'm going to give this a padding of 10 pixels as well. So that's what we have so far. So we have on this is just general for the items, and as you can see here, this is what we have here. This is what we have. So item 1, item 2, and then item 6 is now going to the next place, like you can see there. So this is what we have so far. Okay, so now let me give them a color so that they can become unique. Let me give them a color. So here I'm going to have this as item 1. And of course item 1 is under. So we're going to take in this one, the item 1. Sorry, so this should be, sorry, that I need to update something here. So this is going to be item 1, as well as this is going to be item 2. And then here we have item 4 is going to be item 5. then here I'm going to have item 6. Right, so that's what I have, so that when I grab this one now to reference the item 1 like that. So the item 1, I'm going to give it a background color of red. Don't know why this, so background color of red like that. And then there's something I'm going to do here. I'm going to give this one a flex, and this flex is going to be this way. So here I'm going to give it a flex of 1, 1, and then auto. Now I'll explain what will happen when we do this. But the first one is going to have a flex, this one, just as you can see. So what is happening here is that the flex 1 into 1 auto, this one simply means that the item will grow and shrink as needed. So let me just continue, and then as I explain as we continue. So I'm going to take this one, copy and paste this one so that we can just have the next one. So the next one here, I'm going to give it a background color of green like that. And then this one, I'm going to give it a flex of 2, and then flex of 2, and then the auto. So that means this one will now take two columns. Let's see, with it will adjust with the auto, that is with the, so basically what we have in is that it will grow twice as much as the other items. So it will just double the size of the first one that we add. And as you can see, this is what we have so far. Now I'm going to have the next one, which is going to be a blue. So let's give it a blue color. So we have that one as blue. Now this one, I'm going to give it 1, and then I want it to take not auto now, but I want it to take 50% of the browser. The color is blue, so flex 1 into 1, and then I want it to take 50% of the, so what are we having here? So we having item 1, sorry, this is item 3. Is it 1? This is item 3. So item 3, you can see now this one, they have just taken 1 into 1, both of them out. You can see this one is item 2 is a bit large, the size here compared to the first one, but now the third one is going to take 50% of the rest of the browser. And this one shows you, this is how you now use flex when you are creating this item to be responsive. And you can see we have used the flex wrap. That means on the mobile side, this is what is going to be happening like this. This is what will happen. So this is how you create your responsive items on. So another item here we are going to have is item 4. Of course, it is a class, so you're going to have that dot. So here on item 4, so here, actually I should have just copied, but it's okay. So let's just have this. So this one, I'm going to give it a color of yellow. So just different colors to differentiate them. And then I'm going to give it a flex. So here we're going to have this one as flex of 1. Remember the first one was 50%. So this one I'm going to give it 50%. Remember, it's just, you just play around this until you get what will work for you. So when I give this one item 4, it will also going to behave the same, but now it's going to the same, it's going to the next. Of course, I could have given it, for example, let's say maybe let's say 1 into 1, and then auto like that. Of course, based on the adjustment. Of course, if now it is auto, it simply means that it has to fit in with what is there. But you can see this one is 50, so it means if I give another one here, it's going to adjust itself as it is. So let's just have it as 50 percent, 50%, like that. So the next one actually is the one which determines what will happen. So what I'll have here is the next one is going to be like that. And then here, this one I'm going to give it 33.33 like that. So that is what is going to happen. So this is 50 plus 33, that is 83.33. So that is what is happening there. So the last one here is going to be item 6, which is going to have, sorry, this is yellow. This should be another color. So this is purple. And then this one is going to be orange. So that is orange. And this one is going to take 66.66, just like that. So the finally this one, so you can see the last one is now going to take the uh, entire browser, width of the browser. So on a mobile device, this is how they are arranged, and then on different screen sizes, this is how they are going. It's going to be appearing, as you can see. So this is what we have so far. This is how you can create your responsive web application using Flex. Now, as you can see, we have added now some new properties to the Flex container. So justify content center will now center the items horizontally, and align items will now center them vertically. So we have added a flex wrap, which the flex wrap is to allow the items to wrap to the next line, and of course if there isn't enough room. We have also added some other new properties to the individual items. For example, we have added the flex one auto, which means the item will grow and shrink as needed. The flex 2 1 auto also means that it will grow twice as much as the other items. And then the flex 1 1 50%, this one means that it will take up 50% of the available space. Item 5 takes up 1/3 of the width, and item 6 takes up 2/3 of the width. So you can adjust the values of this flex, that is of the flex values, to change the size of each item. And as you can see, that's what I've just I've done. So now let's take a look at our final example. And of course, this is now the real-time example. So here we're going to create a Flexbox to create a simple navigation bar. Now, so what I'm going to do here, let me just create another. So here I'm going to have nav HTML, and then I'm going to also have nav CSS. So you're going to have that. On this one here, I'm going to have this, and now I'm just going to have some HTML. So here I'm going to have a nav here. It's the nav tag in HTML. So here I'm going to have img src. So this is what I have, and then I'm going to use the alt logo. So just the part for our logo, and then I'm going to have the unordered list, and then within the unordered list here I'm going to have 3 of them like that. So here what I have is the href. Sorry, this is, so we have that. Okay. Okay, so the href, which is going to be equal to hashtag. Then here we're going to have the home. Now let me just copy this so that we don't waste a lot of time. So here I'm going to have about, and then I'm going to have the contact, which should be that way. So basically that's what we have or about. Let me run my live server again. So that's what we have so far. That's what we have. Now here on my nav.css is what now I'm going to use. So let me have the styles here. So here we have the styles like this. So here I'm going to have the link, which is an emmet, and then here I'll have the nav, of course, like that. Now we have connected our CSS, so here we can just begin. So I'll take in the first one, the nav. Now this nav, I'm going to set it display flex, which now basically what we need to know here is that we're simply telling this is now a Flexbox container. So that's the whole idea there. Then now here we're going to have justify content, and then here we're going to give it a space in between, and then to center the items vertically we're going to use the align items center there, and then let's give it a background color of this color here, and then here I'm going to have the color of white here, so I'm going to have that. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a padding just within the items themselves, the menu item. So I'm going to give it a padding of 20 pixels, and as you can see, that's what we have so far. Now let's go to the logo. So I'm going to take this, and then on the logo part I'm going to give it a width of 100 pixels, and then I'm going to give this one an height. So height is going to be auto. Then here I'm going to give it an height of auto. So auto means it will just adjust itself. It will adjust itself, in other words, to the menu items. So that's what we have within there. And then now I'm going to use another one within Flex, which is called order one. Order one means that the items are going to be ordered within the left. Sorry, the logo should go to the left. Yes, to the left. So that's the work of the order one there. Is it to the left or to the right? So the order should be okay. So we have to adjust it again using this. So let's continue. Now we have the unordered list. So the unordered list we are going to have is also going to set it to display flex like that, and then I'm going to have the list style. So the list style should be none, of course. So display flex another list, and then the list style is going to be none. So you can see they have just gone away. So next is we are going to have is that we are going to set the margin to 0, and then I'm going to have a padding. So the padding is going to be 0 as well, and then I'm going to have the order, which should be order 2. So for the L item, order 2 simply means this is what we're going to have. You can see now they have changed. So order 1 left, order 2 the right. Okay, so now next is going to have the nav and then the li. So here I'm going to take going to give them a margin of left, which is 10 pixels. You can see they have now separated each other like that. Now So the next one I'm going to have is the nav and then the anchor tags. So the anchor tags, I'm going to give them this color. And of course, it's just the white color. So giving them the white color, that's what I'm going to have. And then to remove those underlines there, I'm going to give it a text decoration of none so that they go away. And that's it. So basically we have a menu bar which or a nav bar which uses Flexbox. So in this example, we have used display flex to make the navigation bar a Flexbox container, and then we have used justify content to that is justify content space between to space the items evenly and align items center to center, that is to center them vertically. We have also given a navigation bar a background color and some padding to make it stand out. So that's it for our tutorial on Flexbox. So I hope you have learned something new and feel confident to use Flexbox in your own project. So thanks guys for watching. Let's meet in the next video.